Hey everybody, welcome back. Skippy Squirrel here. Just back here now to start showing people some stuff on the build with the van. Like I said, so we'll just get right into that. I'll explain as I go along. So this is the Chevy van that I ended up buying to turn into basically my home on wheels, right? It's nothing great, but it gets me by and it does the trick. So some of the additions that I've done recently is this vehicle didn't have a hitch, so I installed this hitch here, and then that allowed me to be able to put on this luggage rack, which was nice. All right, so I'll start up here with the solar panels. What I did is I ended up getting four solar panels, 100-watt panels, and mounted them to the roof right here. And these are wired in series parallel, and they come out here, and then those two wires just go down into the vehicle. And recently, some of the more recent things I've done is the vehicle had crank windows, which, given I will have my dog for a companion, I figured, well, I better go with power windows. So I took everything apart, put in all the stuff, changed everything out, and installed power windows. I also had just a standard, AC Delco run-of-the-mill stereo, and I took that out and put in a Sony touchscreen. Also has a backup camera, hands-free system for the Apple CarPlay, which is nice. I have the XM radio, the GPS, and so that's nice. And then I changed out my speakers and put in some better speakers just so I had a little better sound up here. And then right here I have my two wires coming down, which I have to still fish through here and down here where they will go. I will drill a hole into the firewall and then lead them to the battery. And these wires here are for my DC to DC charger, which will allow my system to charge up on gloomy days such as today when it's raining. So right here you can see is just a small little fridge and freezer, and then above here is where I have a little 7-gallon water tank, and then I have just a place to store some food and stuff. Then over here is where I normally hang my clothes. I will be putting another cabinet above here, just above that bookshelf. Shortly, I've built the face frame and I'm getting ready to start putting that in. Probably in a video or two, I'll be able to show that, which will be nice. Just recently though, last year I discovered that this thing could use a little boost on the suspension. I figured, the hitch would be nice, but I also discovered a few other things. But I'll start with here. I had the helper spring put in to help give me a little help on the suspension. I noticed that when my windows were down, if it was raining, I'd get wet. So I put these visors on to help with that. But if I had to pull over at a rest area, I noticed that on hot days, middle of the month, it was real hard to, it was real hot in here. Unless I had the windows in the cab open and I had the windows here, or I had the doors open, which wasn't really ideal at a rest area, especially for privacy if you're going to sleep or anything like that. So what I did is I decided, well, what if I could get windows that open? So I ended up ordering some pop open windows. I got a hold of my auto body shop and had them install pop open windows for me, which I will later put a fan into. Okay. Which will definitely make it easier, so I don't have to have a door wide open. I can open the window, open the windows up front, and it'll give me a little air tunnel all the way through here, which will keep it nice and cool. I have a LG TV mounted here, which is nice. I can turn it either way, towards the back or towards the inside. It's nice when I can turn it towards the back, out in the woods. I can sit in the hammock, watch TV right next to the fire. It's really quite nice. Right here I have two 12-volt, 100 amp hour Renogy gel deep cycle batteries, and I have two more right here. That being said, I just recently upgraded my inverter from a 700 watt to a Kotek 2500 watt pure sine inverter. And the reason I did that was because I had a gas cooktop, and with the gas cooktop, you know, during windy days, it makes it harder to cook. If it's rainy, same thing. You know, I was just trying to find ways to make my life easier and take care of things. So I figured if I put in a 2500 watt, it would be enough and sufficient enough to power a electric cooktop. So I ended up buying an electric cooktop. I'll show some of that stuff in a later video. But now I don't have to worry about stuff. I got an electric cooktop I can use, and I can run it just fine off of this inverter. The other nice thing about this inverter is it allowed me to hardwire outlets in, right? Which was something I wasn't able to do with the 700 watt, and something I wanted done. But I only put in one or a couple, and I modified it, you know, because I didn't need a lot. So what I did is I wired in and put one here. And the nice thing about this outlet is I can plug in and charge any of my USB devices right here, which is real nice. Considering one of the video game systems that I have is powered by USB, I just plug it in to that, which is really nice. And then I put another one, a power strip here, just for, you know, when I have the door open to plug things in from the outside, which is nice because then I plug the wood pellet grill in there, other things like light bar and whatnot. So it's really nice there. And then, so that being said, right, I have a little shelf here. Normally I have my Xbox Series X here and set controllers up here. I store a lot of my survival and music books in here. Just recently I bought a new beanbag chair because my last beanbag chair seemed deflated. So I bought a new one. You can see there the old one is deflated. So here I keep most of my music books because I like to be able to just pluck around on the guitar and stuff. Gives me something to do out there if I'm not taking an adventure or playing a game, watching a movie, something, whatever. But this is where I'm going to put the other shelf, starting here and just kind of going back. And that is just going to be for some odds and ends, just make things easier. So now I keep my safe here for my personal records and whatnot. It's fireproof and everything, so that's nice. And then I built this, which is the bed. I store things underneath it, from like the guitar, the grill, a generator, whatnot. But up here is where is a bed. I put a bed, which usually has a mattress and stuff on it. I took a lot of stuff out to be able to get out the wiring and stuff easy. So all that's put away right now. But under here, if I open this up, is storage for clothes. I got DVDs and a DVD player in here, and then I got a bunch of hygiene stuff and first aid things right there, which is nice. So, but that also allows me to get into here, which is where I can get into more of the nitty-gritty of the solar system. So, as I said earlier, I had 4 panels on the roof and they came down, and then those 2 wires came right here, and then I had those run directly right here into my Victron MPPT solar controller. And then the wires here, they come out, they go into a 40 amp fuse, and then from there to the bus bar, which then goes to the positive of the battery. As you can see here, I come up from my inverter to a 300 amp fuse, and then down to the bus bar, which also again goes to the batteries, the battery bank. Now here, which is going to be what I'm hooking up, I'm still working on that. The wires that I had up front that I mentioned go to the battery is for this bad boy. It's a Victron Energy isolated DC to DC charger. Again, this is so when I'm having gloomy, crappy days, I can still charge my system by running the vehicle and using the vehicle's alternator. All right, right here, you know, all my negatives are connected to a negative shunt, right? And again, the DC to DC charger I will be having run to a 40 amp fuse. Now, I'm using fuses, and I've had people ask me, you know, fuses versus breakers. Breakers would be better, as it allows you an opportunity to switch everything off. However, I had fuses were at my disposal. disposable and access, so I ended up using those. I'd like to also reiterate that in no way do I claim to be an expert. I have just done a lot of research before I ended up getting into this build, and just from my own experience and knowledge in carpentry and cabinet making, I have, you know, just put all my experience and my knowledge together over the years, as well as just research. And this is the van that I've created. And in a later video, I'll try to show more of what is actually gets put into this, and how it might seem very impossible that all of it fits in here very neatly, but it does. And then when I get to set up camp, I'll show that, because it's some pretty wild and interesting deals. It's almost better than glamping. But for me, that's life. So anyways, this is the van and the build so far, and I'm working on getting more done. So if you liked what you've seen so far, go ahead and hit like, subscribe if you like, and go ahead and pass it along. Thank you guys, and until next time, have a great one. Stay safe. Bye.